Today is cage cleaning day, and I just wanted to make a really quick video on how I clean my 3 geckos cages in case anyone is wondering what the best way to do it is. I've been changing the way I do it a lot since I started, and I think I finally found ways that are like easiest for me to do because with 3 geckos, it's kind of a lot of hides between the 3 of them. So I'll show you what I do, I'll show you what stuff I use, and if you have any questions, just let me know. So I already started on everything, and I just want to say the easiest thing that I've learned is to get a tub from maybe Walmart or something that fits all of the hides you have. That's kind of what made it a lot easier for me, because at first I had a really small one that I stuck everything in, and then I had a large one, but I noticed it was like, for me, it was a lot harder to use something that's vertical, because stacking the hides, sometimes they're different shapes and stuff, and they just didn't fit in the water well, so I had to do multiple cycles. So the best thing I found so far is this flat thing. This is actually like one of those storage bins that you can put under your bed. That's what it's supposed to be, but since it's so flat and perfect for hides, this is what I started using, and this is my first time doing it today actually, and it's significantly easier because for once, all of the hides are fitting in one thing. Then I have a second smaller bin that's for all the excess stuff, so that's like, you know, that's where I put their insects when I dust them, and I put them all inside of a little container that has all their names on them so I don't get any of their stuff mixed up. They all have their own set of tongs. That little plate is used for when I do shallow baths for them. And, you know, I clean, like, you know, it's cleaning day. So I try to get absolutely everything cleaned on the day of the month that I do this. So that includes the spray bottle and the cup that I use to fill up their water bowls. So yeah, these 2 right here, as you can see, they have like a bluish tint to the water. That's because of the solution that I use in them. That solution is chlorhexidine. This stuff I've seen is kind of basically the standard for leopard geckos. The smell is weaker than bleach, but it kills just as much. So I think it's a good alternative instead of using bleach. This stuff is a lot safer for pets. I got this big old thing. I don't remember how much it was, but it was fairly cheap. And these things last a while, especially if you only have 1 gecko. But if you have multiple, getting this size is definitely worth it because it's going to last you a while. And you're going to need a little more for more hides. And as it says on the bottle, what you do is you take a gallon of water and you only put 1 ounce of the solution in per gallon. So the one in the tub there, actually, that was 10 gallons. To measure that out, all I did was take like a milk gallon jug, cut it on the top, and I, you know, measure 1 gallon at a time until I have enough liquid. And then for every gallon I put in, I just put in a different ounce. So that's my gallon jug right there with the head broken off so that I can put water in it. And I use a food scale to measure the ounces. This is also the same scale that I use to measure my geckos. So you're gonna have a multi-purpose in having this tool. It's a good, easy thing to have because it'll help you measure stuff quickly, and it's useful in multiple ways. So I definitely recommend getting one of these, and they are cheap online as well. You can get one for like 10 bucks. So what I'm gonna do is one by one, I take each of these hides out, I rinse them down, and then I'm gonna put them in my room all in a spot to dry at once. And while they're drying, I'm gonna clean the geckos' homes individually. And like I said, I've got all the stuff out here to dry. So just laying it out on like a towel or something so that everything can just dry on its own while you do the next part. I take each Leo out one by one, and I have another one of those under the bed tub things. I just lay some fresh paper towel for them and just let them roam around a bit while I'm finishing up. So all I do is just take some fresh chlorhexidine solution. I put like half a gallon together, so half an ounce as well of the solution. And then I just rub, you know, the inside, wipe it up, rinse it a little bit, make sure it's all dry, and put all her stuff back in. So I repeat that process for each one of them one by one. And I take that hide that I had there out and put it back in the solution I used for the other hides so that I can have all their hides done by the time that I'm done with each gecko. And they do seem to enjoy this like little playpen that I put them in, but I would say like if you have something like this or use something like this that doesn't have a cover, make sure you keep your eye on them because my 2 biggest ones are definitely big enough to get out if I don't keep my eye on them. So I'll usually have someone either keep an eye on them for me or just check like literally every 10 seconds behind me to make sure that they're not trying to get out. And now I'm putting back together Fleur's home here. So when I set up the home again, I just want to point out a few things that I make sure I do. One, I make sure that the probe to the thermostat goes back where the heat mat is like it's supposed to. I use a little bit of foil tape to hold it down in place so that it doesn't move away from where the heat mat is underneath. And I also put the substrate down, and what I like to do is wherever my gecko goes to the bathroom the most, I put down an extra piece of paper towel so that when my gecko goes to the bathroom, it'll be easier to clean up later. I also like to switch around the hides. Since I have 3 leopard geckos, I have a lot of hides between them, so after they're all clean and sterilized, there's no issue with switching out the hides. So Fleur's home is gonna look different than it looks before, so is Sybil, so is Angel's. So what I like to do so that I don't have all this confusion while I'm setting up is just separate the hides as they're done drying. I separate who gets what hides with what's gonna fit in their home, and then I start to put the stuff back in. The home is ready to put Fleur back in. It's not completely done because I will, put that water and calcium powder in, also put in the humid hide paper towel and spray it down. And then I also have an extra hammock for her to use. So I put her in and I'll just make sure everyone's nice and settled, and then I'll put all the final details. But those are just some things I wanted to point out because switching around their house is just good for stimulation. It's an easy way to give your gecko just a little bit more enrichment in their life if you have multiple geckos, because you don't have to buy anything new. You just switch up their home every now and again. And if you have one leopard gecko, what I used to do was just moving the stuff a little bit when I would clean out the home. That way he had a little exploring to do. And you'll notice that your Leo will kind of explore when they first come back into the terrarium because it's a new environment to them. So I'm going to do this for all 3 of them, and then I can show you that final result. So this is Angel. It's his turn now. And he's a little bit more adventurous, so I gotta keep a close eye on him. And this is my littlest gecko, Sybil, and it's her turn. Final turn. Angel's home isn't completely done, but his other hide is drying, and he's still got some hammocks and plants to decorate with, but for now he's in there. Fleur's already been getting around and exploring her home, and it's Sybil's turn. Also, I just want to say as a good tip, this is a perfect time to clean out the critter home for whatever insects you feed your leopard gecko. All my geckos have mainly a dubia diet, so dubia roaches go in this container here. I do the exact same thing I did with the other stuff. I take their food and water bowl, I put it in the same solution, I put the same solution in the home to disinfect it, and I take out all of this stuff. I usually replace this stuff because I have a lot of cartons left over, but I do believe you could use these longer than just, replacing them every single cleaning. You could replace them every other cleaning, but I replace them every time because I keep a lot of those on hand. So, it's just the sanitary, easy, fastest way to clean it. Take everything out, throw away all the, poop, any dead dubia carcasses you might find. And then, I take all the dubias out and I put them in a little container with a little hide, and then once it's clean and I put the stuff back in, I just put them back in there and bam, they're good to go. So because the solution's already made and I'm already in the space doing all the cleaning, this just adds like an extra 5 minutes, and it's a task that needs to get done and keeps your dubias healthy and happy. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I forgot to mention it, but this is the perfect time to clean out your critter keeper, and it's the same process as you would use with your leopard gecko's home. If you're curious as to what this critter keeper is, I honestly think this is the easiest, cheapest, best way to keep crickets or dubias, and I made a video on it. Essentially, you just go to Walmart, get a Sterilite container, get mesh is really good. A lot of people use mesh. Poke holes, put mesh in it, and so that there's ventilation, and boom, a few cartons. I use these little things right here to put the food and water in, and you have this setup. So you can watch a full video on that if you want, but I just wanted to point that out because a lot of the stuff you'll get at the pet store for crickets or dubias, those critter keepers, they're really small, not very practical. You wouldn't be able to put a lot of insects in there, and I often see that with those keepers, your insects will definitely get out because it's too little of a space and they'll force their way out, but I've never lost crickets or dubias in here. Sorry for the glare, it honestly really bothers me. We can't see Fleur's home too much because hers looks awesome, but there's Fleur exploring her new home. She's got all her hides in. She's got 2 hammocks because she is the most active, so I've made plenty of space for her to be on the floor, up in the air. This little thing right here is really cool. You stick it to the side of the glass so they can climb up. She's got a hide here, a hide in the back there. She's got her humid hide here. This is her cool hide, the water, and the calcium dish. So her home is all set up, and she seems to be enjoying it. Sybil has a much more, minimalistic setup. Like I said, it's because of her disability. It It's honestly not bad for her. For her case, it's a way better setup than having a lot of clutter. So that's her favorite hide. That's her warm hide. All of their warm hides are on the left side and their cool hides are on the right side. So they've got, so she also has a humid hide in the middle here. She's got this extra hide on the cool side. So she has 2 hides on the cool side. This one is just so that if she feels like doing a little bit of climbing, this is pretty safe for her because it's like ramp style. And then in the back there, she has one that's going to give her a lot of security when she wants to be in the cool side. And then she's got a water bowl and a calcium dish as well. And then we've got Angel's home, which has a good amount of cover up, but mostly it's hides. But because he has this really big, nice hide here, he does have plenty of cover for him. Even though it looks a little bit open, it is pretty clean. It's got plenty of hides. So I like his setup. For Angel, it's very good because he's on a diet. So he needs to be exploring his home more. But he's got plenty of secure locations to go to so that he's enticed to go to the other side. He always goes to the bathroom in that back hide right there. He is the only one who consistently goes in the exact same spot. Fleur and Sybil have spots that they basically have 2 spots that they each use. But Angel is the only one that just uses that one spot back there. So I've never ever taken that hide away. He's had that hide since he was really young. But anyways, yeah, he's got a hammock up here for whenever he wants to explore. He's got this ramp that goes from the back of his home to the front, so it kind of covers that little area back there. That's his favorite hide. That's his hot hide. Then his humid hide right here. He's got a calcium dish here, a water bowl. He's got the biggest stuff because he is the biggest gecko. That's why he has the biggest home. He's the biggest gecko. He has a really big home. Fleur has a medium-sized kind of home for her because she's a medium-sized gecko, and Sybil has the smallest home because she's the smallest gecko. But they all have appropriate floor space for them and for their size. This is what has worked for me and was the best way for me to go. So I really like the setups and how they turned out. This is, like I said, different than it used to be because I like to move around their hides when I clean their homes. But now that they have everything they need, I'm going to finish up doing the dubious stuff and, you know, all of their extra supplies, dry them up. But that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this could be useful in some way. And I wish your Leos well. Thanks. Yeah, you got it. Oh, good job. Making a mess in your clean home right off the bat. What the heck?